Magnifico is truly like a false prophet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome to another episode of the Enlio podcast. My name is Josh, and we are so glad to be back with you this week. We did survive the snow apocalypse of 2024, so Beck is alive, I'm alive, everybody is alive.
Indeed, we are.
It was a nice week staying at home, getting to work from home, and not having to commute. That is the best thing about a snow day or a snow week.
Yeah, for us, it was a whole week just because, I mean, where we live, nobody really knows how to handle snow. And so it's just kind of acceptable to not do anything, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's everything shuts down and everybody's in a panic. But we weren't in a panic, we were prepared.
We were prepared.
Yeah, that's right.
We went to the grocery store with the rest of them.
We did.
But only to get like our
normal
month, like weekly.
Yeah, the same people like us. We just went in, go in for the week. We weren't stocking up like we were going to be in it for the long haul. This week, we're actually going to be talking about Disney's newest movie. Well, newest as in it came out November 2023, I think.
Oh, was it in November?
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, I think it was. Is there that or the summer? One of those two.
No, it was more recent, I think.
Okay. And that's because we'll be talking about Wish. Now, before we get into our whole spiel about Wish and our analysis about it, I read on many different websites, many different reviews that this was not well received by critics. It got a 41 or 42% Rotten Tomatoes critic score. Audience score is 85%, so just a decision right there.
What were the critics saying? What were their what did they have against it?
That
it was too enjoyable.
That it was just really lofty and it's follows a formula. Well, I mean, of course.
Disney is a formula.
You got a princess, you got music, you got talking animals. Yeah, that is a formula. I mean, Disney's followed that for God knows how long.
I would even say that, 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was their 100th
Oh,
year.
yeah, this is their 100 year anniversary film.
Last year, right?
Yes, last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's their formula. They've done it and it works.
It does.
It works.
Yeah, so a couple of things that I read about it was musical sins. There was like words that like don't exist but were like kind of made to fit the rhyming scheme of the song. So one person was really upset about that. Another person says that they didn't hate it, that they wished it was a little bit longer. Another person had said, this isn't the Disney Renaissance. This is Disney's era of too big to fail. And when movies like Tangled and stuff like that came out in, I think it was the 2010s or maybe a little bit earlier, and people thought that, oh, this is Disney's new Renaissance era. And then in the 2010s and now 2020s, it's kind of like trickled down a bit.
It's taking a nosedive.
It's true.
Into the negative direction.
Like, people have noticed a dip in quality.
Mm-hmm.
Some have even suspected that the music in Wish was written by AI just because of the odd lyrical standings that it has.
I'm not sure I entirely believe that.
Yeah, again, that's just a theory. They say it sounds like, not that it is, but that they think that's what it could be.
I mean, unless they're like, all right, here's the whole body of work of Lin-Manuel Miranda and all of our other songs.
Take it away.
Then And then they were like, all right, AI, now create music.
Yeah.
Then I might believe that
Well, Lin-Manuel Miranda has been
in
in
everything
he's been
recently.
like the poster child for Disney when it comes to music.
Yeah, ever since Moana, right? Moana,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
was the first one where he really that was partnering with Disney for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Did we find out that he actually worked on this Wish project?
I don't know. Let me look it up real quick.
I would be very surprised if he wasn't. There was at least one song that was like, okay, 100% this was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't remember which one it was, but it was like, it was that same sound. all of Lin-Manuel Miranda's music. I mean, it's good. I like it. But it is very similar to itself.
Okay, so it doesn't say that they. So regarding this article, um, uh, from Collider publication,
Hmm.
it says one of the points, bullet points from the big picture is the songs in which attempt to replicate the past success of Lin Manuel Miranda, rather than taking a unique risk. And I saw that.
So he didn't work on the
He didn't
project,
work on the
but they
project, but
used his style.
correct,
That makes more sense, honestly, because,
because you can tell in some of the songs.
well, some of the songs are like, yeah, he definitely, it sounds like he wrote that.
Right,
But most of them were like just hints. We were talking earlier actually about, if he did write all of them, all of the songs, then he went out of his comfort zone, I think, um to write the other songs. It's just not, it doesn't sound like his
right, right.
normal stuff. I mean, it was
Yeah,
good though. There's only one song that I was like, I just did not care for.
yeah. And we'll get to all the music here in a bit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So that's a little bit about the critics of what they're saying, what other people have said. I read the comments on YouTube, which is always a punishment in itself.
It can be.
For videos. I think one person was, yeah, I took my 6-year old daughter to see this when it was in the theater, and she kept just wanting to go to the bathroom, and then thought I admitted that she didn't want to sit through it. Again, that could have been for a myriad of reasons.
Could have been.
Yeah. I
We take that one with a grain of salt.
at 6 years old, and maybe 6-year olds have better taste. um,
You have a lot of opinions as a little 6-year old.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, when I was 6, if I was 6 when this came out, I mean, I would have enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it now.
So, we'll be doing the analysis on Wish and kind of giving you our take, the parallels that we're drawing from it. But first, for those who may not have seen Wish, Rebecca, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the movie.
Well, the movie starts off with, oh my gosh, what is her name, Josh?
Asha.
Asha. So Asha's our main character, and she lives on this island where wishes can be granted. And once a year, I think, the king of the land grants this wish. He's the only person in the world there that can grant these wishes, and he takes the wishes of people from the island and protects them, and then grants one once a year. And so Asha, oh my, I don't know why I can't. Her name just doesn't stick. So Asha, it wants to be his apprentice. And so she goes, she wants to be his apprentice, and then shenanigans ensue, and a villain emerges, and their wishes are in jeopardy. And so she has to go on this journey. She ends up making her own wish, not giving up her wish to the king, but making this wish on a star. And the star ends up coming to life and granting wishes. And so it's about how do they rescue these wishes. And yeah, that's about it. It probably wasn't a very good representation. I don't know why I was like a little worried about saying who the villain is. Like we're gonna find out.
Yeah,
Spoilers
yeah,
ahead.
there you go. Yes, so from that synopsis, it gives you a little bit of the intro into what the movie is all about.
And I didn't
And
know anything, honestly, going in. I
yeah,
just knew that they
same.
were really cute little character designs.
Yeah,
It was about a star. They looked like there were some funny moments. That was all I knew. That was it. And honestly, I'm very glad. I'm glad
yeah.
that we did
We
that.
we were pleasantly surprised. So let's go ahead with our first reactions. I'll go first. Now, not knowing anything, just like Rebecca, I knew that it's cute animation. There was music. It revolved around wishes, of course, but I knew nothing else. I didn't know about King Magnifico. I didn't know about the little Easter eggs that we'll go into as well. None of that. I was pleasantly surprised. I know critics have given this movie a bad rep, and have just had numerous negative things to say that I, for one, really enjoyed it. I would actually watch it again. I loved the music, characters were likable, and I didn't see or didn't notice any like hidden agenda, which is always nice. Rebecca, what about you? What were your reactions, first reactions to this?
Yeah, I would say I would agree. I mean overall I really enjoyed the movie itself. It was fun and funny and a good just sort of fairy tale feeling of a story while being unique. I really appreciated. I know Josh, you just mentioned the whole hidden agenda from Disney because Disney is, I mean, it's not a secret. They're pushing an agenda. Um, but I really enjoyed them creating a whole new story for someone who had darker skin color and she looked like she was more of an African American or African.
It did. And now when I was asking you about this, like the kind of like country of origin, you said that they were like in the Mediterranean, so it's like a hodgepodge.
Yeah, they said in the very beginning of the little prologue of
Oh,
the
okay.
story that it was
Okay.
this little island in the Mediterranean. So
Okay, I
they
must have
got
missed that.
yeah, so it was just kind of this like melting pot of everyone from all over the world
Yeah.
who's coming to come to this special little wish island. So it's very possible that she was of actual like African descent. That would make sense for the Mediterranean. Um, but I really appreciated that they created a whole story for someone rather than like taking the Little Mermaid, who in the original animated movie was a very European redheaded woman. Like that's just who she was in the movie. And so I really appreciated that they created a new story for someone like this rather than trying to just like take over another story. That being said, the movie was surprising at how funny it was. I did not expect it to be all that funny.
Yeah,
And it was
there
really
was
good.
actually some like clever jokes and like
Hmm.
yeah, it was
Moments that you didn't expect. I didn't
right.
expect, which honestly kind of takes a lot for me. Josh will tell you.
Yes,
Um,
this woman is like, oh, I know who it is. Oh, this is gonna happen.
yep.
And I appreciated that it kept you on your toes and you didn't know what was gonna come next. I mean the general storyline, yeah, but
Yeah.
not the intricate details.
Right. Yeah. Well, like when so this is where spoilers begin. Um so King Magnifico, well they went through the little prologue in the beginning of the movie as to what the deal was with him. His dreams were crushed and he felt so bad that he wanted to help other people and not crush their
And,
dreams.
and when you hear that, you think, oh man, he's such a good soul. And
Right, yeah. And then they went into on to explain that he grants their wishes once a year. And I was like,
yeah, he has like this big whole ceremony and
yeah, and some were waiting for like their whole life, like her granddad, I forget what she called him.
uh
Um
yeah,
Papa or something.
yeah, her granddad.
Yeah, her granddad.
Yeah, and he's like turning like 100 that
He's
year.
turning, yeah, 100 or 99 or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And he had been waiting his whole life to have his wish granted. And I was like, ooh, ding, 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 alarm bells are going off. Like, that sounds like that's controlling rather than
Right, right.
benevolent. I don't know.
So that's when we get into the first song, and we'll just kind of go, through the story. We'll discuss it as they come about. Um, so when we learned that Asha's granddad is, turned 99 or 100, and he wants his, wish granted. And when we see this wish, it's very humble. It's very nice. But King Magnifico, after he does a duet with Asha in the song "At All Cost,"
Which was beautiful.
yes,
May I just say, one of my favorites. Love that song.
yeah, it's really
Love that
nice.
song. It was really good.
But Asha says, "Oh, yeah, I would like to ask you for a wish." And King Magnifico, who is voiced by Chris Pine, is kind of off. He's like, "Oh, well, people usually wait a year or at least after getting the apprenticeship." And she explains to him, he's turned 100 and, he would really like his wish granted. So he pulls down the little orb that has his wish. And he's like, I'd love to grant it, but it's too vague. And so we get the idea that
Well, and his wish
is to like
is,
inspire people.
yeah, is to inspire later generations or future generations,
Right.
which is a beautiful wish. That,
But
that's amazing.
we then start to see an inkling of King Magnifico's real character,
Yep.
where he just kind of like goes off the handle. Well, I mean, inspire what? A revolt? A plan to destroy Rosas, which is the country they live in, or the town.
Yeah, so he's afraid of what he's built coming.
Yeah, come to crumble because that's his main goal. He wants to control everything and make everything so that he doesn't have to like relive another tragedy like that where everything just seems crashing down.
Well, and I think what's important here too about King Magnifico is that he, first of all, his name, King Magnifico, it means the magnificent. So he thinks pretty highly of himself already, say his name being King Magnifico. And I forget where I was going. Oh, it started out his dream, I guess, started out as something beautiful too. It seemed like he really wanted to help people as well because his dream was, destroyed. He wanted to help protect other people.
Yeah.
But then it's like the more that he received other people's wishes, the more powerful he felt. And so it seemed like it was more of this slow moving, moving towards an evil direction rather than right off the bat, he's evil.
Yeah.
Which I think is true for everyone. I think we all exist on a spectrum of good and evil, as in like our works being good or evil. And no one, I don't think anybody is just like born evil. Now, theologically, I believe that yes, we are all born evil. We need God to rescue us from our sin and all of that. So that is still true. But like I don't think villains just like are born villains.
Right, and with King Magnifico, he seems very like his intentions are well meaning.
Right.
But he's letting his
in the beginning anyway.
His authoritarian personality get the better of them, and when he dabbles into what they call forbidden or the dark magic,
that's when he really goes off the rails. Yeah.
But I want to get to our first topic, which is kind of like wishes, or what we in Christianity would be as prayer and desires. We all have desires, we all have prayers, and I think we treat God sometimes like, King Magnifico, where we just give him the prayer and say, yeah, I really want you to grant my wish, or I really want you to make my prayer come to fruition. And God is not King Nenethigo. He's not a genie. He takes your prayer, your request, your wish, if you will, into consideration, but he's not gonna say if you pray to the best fashion designer in all of history or the world. I mean, maybe, but it's going to come by your own efforts. It's not going to be just a snap the finger like, oh, you're this now. Thanks, God.
I think there's definitely a theme, though, of God imparting our desires, you know, um, just like it says in Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. And, I think from a Christian perspective, though, God puts, I think he puts certain like skills and just sort of things that you're born with, gifts that you're born with.
Right.
And as we pursue him, as we delight ourselves in the
He's
Lord,
going to increase that desire, those passions. It's
well,
going to
and
kind of like thrust you forward to turn those into opportunities.
well, yeah, I think he also though will change. I mean, we are still sinful beings.
Yeah.
So we may just really want to go one way, and that is
Yeah.
like a gift that God has given us.
Yeah, free will.
But then as we draw close to him, he may be leading us in a different direction, and he makes his desires for our lives our desires as well, so that we come together in partnership, which is so important. And that's where the magic, if you will, really happens, is when we draw closer to God and allow our hearts to be moved and put towards him, I guess.
Yes. And I want to go back to the song At All Cost for a moment. On the surface, before you really know that Kenneth goes like real intentions, when I heard it like out of context, like not having seen the movie, because I did listen to a bit of the soundtrack before we had watched it. I was like, oh, this is a nice song. I thought it was like a love ballad at first.
It sounds that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, in a way, it really is. It is a love ballad between King Magnifico and these wishes. Just like, I love you and I'm going to protect you. And
It's like almost like, we could attribute that to God. Because,
absolutely.
he wants to protect us from, sin. And he makes a promise, for his sword to come to fruition. So could definitely see the parallels there. Which probably made me like the psalm just that much more.
I wanted to bring up some of the lyrics. I wanted to find a specific part here. So towards the end of the song, it's going through the chorus, and it says, and promise as one does, I will protect you at all costs. Keep you safe here in my arms. I will protect you at all costs, at all costs. If you're ever feeling like you're lost, I'll come find you. Man, all fronts. There's no ocean I won't swim across to be right by you. And not just one, here and now, I swear on my response, I will remind you. And promise as one does, I will protect you at all costs.
Wow, that is such a God complex. I mean,
from King Magnifico, yes.
Yeah.
So if we're just kind of looking at this, though, from the perspective of like God singing this to us, it sounds like a worship song.
Oh, absolutely.
Doesn't it?
I could see that being rendition as well. Oh, yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like we've heard those lyrics in our worship songs before.
Oh, yeah, we have.
There's no ocean I won't swim across to be right by you.
Just kind of like reckless love. No mountain you won't climb up. No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So that was definitely the feeling that I got from that song. And then, of course, right after that song, we learn, ooh, he's not such a great guy.
I decide what everyone deserves.
And this is where Asha, kind of like runs out and has a song as one does in a Disney movie. And this is where we get to a song. Well, let me back up. So she actually wishes upon a star. Again, classic Disney type of vehicle right there. And the star, it gets personified and it comes down and has a personality. And I know Becca really wanted one. There was a squishmallow of the star.
I totally would buy
Yeah.
that. It was so cute. I love it. All of the characters were just like so well designed.
They were.
I really enjoyed it.
But the star comes down, and through nonverbal cues, he's saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna make this all come to fruition. It's you. Yeah, I'm gonna help, but you are the one who's gonna make the desires, the wishes. It's all gonna come from what's inside."
Are you talking about the star inside or whatever
Yeah.
that one is called? Oh, I was trying to pull up the wish.
Oh, yeah, that song. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, which was beautiful.
Mm.
Oh, okay. So about that, she has a line in the song, This Wish, that her first line actually is, "Isn't truth supposed to set you free? Well, why do I feel so weighed down by it?" Meaning when she's learned the truth. And
Right.
we were watching this and I was like, well, that's because you're misquoting the Bible. That's why. Is because the Bible, when it says truth will set you free, it's meaning Jesus. Jesus will set you free. And how, like secular society, they've taken that phrase, truth will set you free, and completely turned it into something else. And
yeah, more the natural and the secular instead of the supernatural.
Yeah, it's yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I did really like that song. Yeah, so she's like, basically during this song, she's talking about, I want so much more for our lives than this lie that's continuing, that's stealing the wishes of these people. Now, yes, the people are freely giving these wishes up. However, they've been lied to about what happens to these wishes. They've been given this false hope, this false security that their hopes and their dreams are taken care of and going to be granted one day. And I mean, Magnifico is truly like a false prophet.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. So, but the I'm a Star song.
Yeah, you are not a fan of that. Like, okay,
No,
so this is
not a
after the
fan.
stars like sprinkle his little magic dust, and
Which was adorable. Love that part.
And-
The animals begin to talk. How cute. I love it. Was so appropriate.
and but then you're
Normally
like,
I'd be like, ugh, really? We're bringing this trope in here. But it was really appropriate.
then your whole confusion is like, oh gosh, they're gonna sing now.
Yes. Yeah.
This is where a lot of the freedom came into lyrically, because there was just like these words that like they're trying to rhyme it with star. Yeah, it was a cute song and everything, but
Was it?
It could have been better.
To me, this was the most woke song in there.
Oh, well, yeah.
And it was this like,
well,
no, you're a star.
Right.
You have what it takes inside of you. Be who you are. And it's like, I mean,
yeah.
True.
Well,
why do we have to say it like that?
Why would you say it's the wokest song?
Because of what I just said. Because of the like, it's inside of you that what matters. And it reminded me so much of the what the left is saying, the woke people, if you will.
Yeah.
The woke. There's a better way to say that. But the narrative of, it doesn't matter what you're born as. a male or
Right, right,
female. It's what's
right,
on the inside that matters. And that
right.
was the narrative that I heard
Hmm.
when listening to this song, even though it's never mentioned in the song. Not
Right.
once.
I mean, if you really look into it and maybe that was something behind it, maybe not. But
Maybe. I mean, it is encouraging. I mean, it is true. Like, have confidence, like you can do this. Like, you have what it takes inside of you to make this happen. And that's a great message. Be who you are. Like, yes, don't be ashamed of who you are. Um, and that's a good message. It's not a bad message.
you want to know my favorite animal out of that whole musical romp?
Which one? The
Um,
bear?
no, no, he was good though. During the song "You're a Star," it's that deer they get in like a surfer complex.
Oh, God. You're a star. Yeah, well, this one, I think this song was also the one that sounded the most like Lin-Manuel
Well,
Miranda,
especially
right?
that rapping part by that turtle.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's another thing. Like, it felt so out of place. Like they were trying to force something to happen. All of the other songs are like, wow, this is good. And then you have that song and you're like, where did this come from?
Yeah,
That just seems kind of out there. Like,
it does.
did we need that song? I don't think we did. I really don't. I think it was just like, oh, we need a fun, exciting song. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was cutesy and whatnot, but there are better songs in
Hmm.
the movie. I want to go down to kind of like our second point because we talked about wishes, we talked about desires, consequences of the wishes, and we see that really when the Nithko dabbles in dark magic because he's trying to take care of the situation that when the star comes down, he sees this bright light. He's like, "Well, I didn't do that."
Who was it?
So
It's
yeah,
obviously someone who's coming to attack me. How dare they?
yeah,
Like,
traitor.
calm down. He really jumped quick to conclusions
Yeah,
that also showed who he was.
right. And he delves into that dark magic that just overtakes him.
Well, he doesn't at first.
Well, yeah, not at first, but
He's like,
um, yeah.
but then he
Well,
finds out who it was, and he was like, well, he didn't find out who it
well,
was, but he
not
couldn't
but
find them.
oh, right. But he was just fed up then. So nobody else is gonna do this. I had to do it myself. I got to
Hmm.
regain control, and these people, my subjects, are questioning me. They've never done this before.
Hmm. Yeah, I love my that brings us to the song. This is the thanks I get.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
This song,
this song, it starts off with the line, I can't help it if mirrors love my face.
it's
It's
genetics.
genetics. Yeah,
I
I've
got
got those
these genes
genes
from
from
outer
outer
space.
space. And you're like,
Okay.
okay,
Come on.
Magnifico.
Yeah, a bit of the stretch there. Now, I
Hmm.
will say, usually back in the day, when I was listening to like the soundtrack for different Disney movies, I would always skip the villain song
Yeah.
because it was generally mediocre,
Hmm.
in my opinion. There are a couple of exceptions. This one, it was very like poppy and positive. Well, positive from the Nithico.
It
Um,
slaps.
yes, it does
It's good.
slap.
It's very
Um,
good.
and it is. I enjoyed it. So this is the things I get. It do 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 do. Yeah, there's a little bit of the little bit of the chorus, but yeah, I really like that. But yeah, going back to wishes and consequences, we also see this in the Bible when we talk about desires that are not really filled by God. We can see that all the way back in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. Satan came in as a serpent, try to convince Eve, hey, God didn't really say that. Eat of this fruit, you will have all the desires, all the knowledge you could ask for.
Mm.
And Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel was about um, birthright or
Mm-mm.
inheritance.
No, Cain and Abel was they were brothers
Yes.
who, well, they were the sons of Adam and Eve.
Right.
And Abel gave a wonderful grain offering of the land.
Hmm.
And then I'm sorry, Abel gave the grain offering from the land, the fruits and vegetables and
Yeah.
things. And then Cain gave a sacrifice of animals because he worked with animals. And so
Right.
that's what he did, thinking that he was doing a good thing
Yes.
for God, even though God was very explicit about what kind of sacrifices that he wanted, what kind of gifts he wanted. And he did not want the blood sacrifice. That's not what which is kind of weird, right? Like God's whole thing is the blood sacrifices. So why with Cain and Abel was it something different? I don't know. Anyway, he was pleased more with Abel's gift than he was with Cain. Well, Cain was like, well, that's not fair. And
Yeah.
so he gets really angry and he goes and he kills Abel.
Right.
So consequences there.
Yeah. And then one of the other last parallels we'll draw is David and Bathsheba. David saw Bathsheba just, washing herself over across the way on
Taking a
his
bath.
kingdom. And he's like, I want that. I want that woman. It's like, well, she's married. It's like, not anymore.
Not if I send her husband to the front lines of battle to die.
Yeah. So again, desire
Ooh.
came out of consequence. Very hefty consequences.
Very.
God don't play around.
He killed their firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was their secondborn was Solomon.
Yeah.
It was them, but yeah,
Going
there are
back to the way
consequences.
that we ask, in going back to relating like wishes to prayers, um, when we treat God like a genie, going back to that, I think this sums it up perfectly from James 4:3. You ask and do not receive because you ask wrongly to spend it on your passions.
Mm.
Basically, well, you're praying because this is all the selfish desires, not the true desires of your hearts. You just want this, want me to give you something so that you can just be fruitless with it.
Right, rather than what we talked about earlier with Psalm 37:4 of delighting yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart because you're in partnership with each other, rather than us just sitting here going, "Oh Lord, please get me a new car. I really want a new car. Yeah, I just bought one like, 2 years ago, but I still really, really want one."
Right.
Maybe even say, I need one.
Yes.
But do you
You really
need
need one?
one?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What we need is to encourage the body of Christ and the people around us. That is love. And that's what we really need to do.
Right. And jumping back into the storyline, Kanan Mifiko has delved into the dark magic. Asha has known his true intentions basically from the beginning, and she's had to convince her group of people, her friends, to hey, Nanithiko is not the person you think he is. He doesn't have your best interests at heart. Most of the wishes that people have given him are never going to be granted.
Yeah, most of them. Most of them, he coerces people into giving up their wishes. And the crazy thing is that when they give up these wishes,
They
they
like
don't
for
even
yeah,
remember.
they forget it.
They don't know what they are. And it's like they're entrusting someone else. This was the whole point of the movie, I think.
Yeah.
If you entrust your wish to someone else, then thinking that they're going to safeguard it, then you never even have the opportunity to make it happen yourself. Yes, you could fail,
Mhm.
like Magnifico, what
Right.
happened with him. Um, yeah, it could all go very poorly, or you can make it happen. You know what? Life is risky. You just have to like take some risks sometimes. And for our case, with guys Christians, we partner with God and to take those risks. And when we take those risks, is it really risky? Because we know that we can always fall back on God. Even if we lose everything, we still have what I would say is everything. We still have that relationship, you know? And just like Job found that out, right? He
Yeah.
he wasn't being risky by any means. He was just being tested. But he lost everything and he never once questioned God. And until the very end, where he was like, why? Poor guy. He lost his entire family,
Yeah.
all of his possessions, like
Rough.
literally everything. And his friends were like, well, it's your fault because you sinned.
Mm.
And he was like, all right, fine. I give up. What's the deal?
Yeah.
But we still have so much, even if we take that risk.
We do. We do. And this kind of brings us to our last point, which is kind of like the redemption and the transformation that happens. Because what we see is Benefico has um, basically warped the star into a scepter, given him all its power, and everybody's like, trapped within the kingdom. And Asha, still has that, that light, that star inside of her,
Well, she
where
hasn't quite realized that she has a star inside of her.
she hasn't.
Her wish, yeah.
Yeah, this is like when she's on the top of the tower.
Yeah, and she's
Yeah.
being like forced down and she
Yes.
starts singing.
Right.
Yeah, and then she realizes, oh, there's a little orb, there's a light inside of me.
Yes.
I can inspire others
Right.
just because. And then the other people on the ground realize, oh, just because my wish has been given up, like you still have something inside of you to give.
Yes.
Even if that dream is gone, there's other dreams and you can still repossess, if you will, your dream that you once had. Even if you lost it, you can still get it back.
Yeah, and that's the you know being illustrated in the movie where Nenefico is finally you know sucked into his scepter, and all the orbs are coming back to people, and like just it's like it is honestly like a transformation, like their face just lights up and they've been given a renewing, and it's like a whole new outlook that they have.
That
They
is so true. They finally remember what their wish is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that brings us right to Romans 12:2. If you read the Bible, you've probably come across this. It's quoted so many times. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God.
I've heard it said differently.
Well, this is, I think, NIV.
That would be why. Yeah, I've heard it more along the lines of be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Um, no, it's do not be conformed to the world. Okay, I should have memorized this, but now I need to know
Do
what the
not be
actual
conformed
line
to the
is.
world,
But be
be
transformed by the renewal of your mind,
Yes, yes,
so that you may know the perfect will of God. There we
right.
go. I
Yes.
was like, I know we're close. That's just crazy. Um, yeah. Yeah, do not be conformed to this world. Yeah, it's that, which is a very important part, I think. But be transformed by the renewal of your mind, and that's allowing Holy Spirit into your life to transform you and make you a new creation.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you had more to say.
No,
I was like,
so,
I better shush.
um, yeah, and our main character Asha kind of has a transformation because her biggest kind of lacking in her personality is self-confidence, because she's also under the impression, would it be anything to make my wish come true? It has to be granted by Nanifico. And it's where she realizes by the end of the movie, I have a light inside me. I can inspire others. I can actually do something. I don't have to wait for somebody to do something for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can do it yourself. You make your wishes come true. You make your dreams come true. And which in and of itself is a very secular view of wishes in general.
Mm.
So for Christians, it's a little bit different. It's like it's a partnership with God
Right, right.
rather than you can do it all on your own.
Correct.
That's the sinful way, I suppose,
And
if you can call it that,
as
to
I
try to do
say,
it on your own.
yeah, as I say, lean not on your own understanding.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
So let's get into just for a few moments um, kind of the origins and the Easter eggs.
Ooh, there's so many.
A lot.
So many. But that
We,
was the point.
yeah. So we saw this as the origin story of like Snow White. Um, we
But
had,
like so many others.
yeah.
So many others.
The reason I say Snow White is because she has not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, seven friends, and
All
they
with
all
various
very
characteristics,
yes,
like sleeping and sneezing all the time.
and dopey and
Uh-huh.
yeah. So that was one, and then came that Nifiko in the line where it says, I can't help it. Mirrors just left my face. It's like, oh,
Oh yeah, yeah, you really see it in the very end where he's trapped in the scepter, where
yes,
it even had the little mirror on the wall, or the
yes,
mirror, it's not the mirror on the wall. It had that little face as he's
yes.
been being sucked in to the scepter. And I was like, "Oh, I see what you did there. That's uh-huh."
Yeah, then the queen says, take this, take this and put in the dungeon, which is, kind of where we see, the magic mirror in Snow White. But Rebecca, what were some other like origins and Easter eggs that you noticed?
At the very end, I know Aaliyah, yeah.
Asha?
Ash- Asha. Why does her name not want to stick? Asha. Um Asha is given this wand by the star, and she has this cloak that she's like
Oh
using
yes,
to cloak herself, I suppose. So she's got this wand, and when the star creates it looks just like the fairy godmother from Cinderella. And so yeah, so that she's like she was the fairy godmother in Cinderella. And then of course they gave the star gave her a new dress or something, and they did the Cinderella like
yep, they did.
transformation. I was like, "Oh, I see what you did there. That's fun."
We also had Peter Pan, like
Yes.
both alluded to and in the actual
Yeah.
like movie.
Yeah, it was oh my gosh, at the very end they like connected people's dreams. Oh, it was someone who wanted to fly, and the queen was like, "Ah, yes, come meet this person who wants to I hear you want to fly. Well, Peter is wanting to do whatever, I forget, create an island where you can fly." And it was like, "Oh, I see. I see what you did." There were so many. Or oh, there's a bunny in one of the scenes
Oh
that
yeah,
looks like
Thumper.
Thumper.
Yeah,
Oh, they even called one of the deer
Bambi.
Bambi.
Yeah.
So there were, oh my gosh, so many of those Easter eggs. It was good.
Yeah, it was really good, and also in the credits, like they had like the little stardust, and they did
Oh yeah.
outlines of like all the different Disney characters throughout
Hmm.
the 100 years of Disney.
Yeah. Well, even the wishing upon a star,
Yeah, and we see
Pinocchio,
yeah, and we see that the granddad, in the
Geppetto,
yeah yeah
perhaps.
maybe,
Perhaps.
but
He
yeah,
seemed like it with his little, it wasn't guitar, I don't think.
it's like mandolin or something.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, they just strummed the first few notes of "When You Wish Upon a Star." Did
Mhm.
that little clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was very very cute, and I enjoyed kind of watching the credits just to see the different
Yeah.
characters that would pop up.
That was fun. Do you want to
So
know my absolute favorite part of the entire movie?
oh gosh,
You
you
know,
lost it
I
at this.
did.
So go ahead and kind of set it up.
Okay. So Asha and the star and the little goat, um, the kid, I suppose. Goat baby goats are called kids. Anyway. So they are trying to sneak into the palace, and so she leaves the star and the goat in this like storage room, the hen house. And she was like, "All right, guys, you gotta stay here, you gotta be quiet." And so she sneaks out and she was trying to talk to her friends, and they keep like making noise, and she's like, "Oh, what is that?" And they're all having this very normal conversation, and noise keeps happening. And then and then the Then they opened the door ultimately. She was like, okay, fine, I'll show you. They open this door and the chickens have been organized. They are dancing and singing and
to
shooting eggs out their butts. And it's just wild.
to the tune of "It's a Small World," mind you.
It was fantastic. It was like not expecting it. You're like, oh, okay, this is happening. It was so funny.
That's probably honestly that's probably the most enjoyable part.
Oh, that was the
Oh,
best.
yeah.
That was the best part of the whole movie. I loved it.
Oh gosh. All right. So from our perspective, we would definitely recommend this. It's a cute film. Gives you a bit of the origin story of the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And we just thoroughly enjoyed it.
I would
So
want to watch this
we'll get two
again.
thumbs up.
Yeah.
This week, we want you to think about like what are the desires of your heart? Do you treat God like a genie when you pray? And what are you really seeking? And do you ask rightly or do you ask wrongly? So kind of think about the verses that we kind of reference in Psalm and James and Romans. Kind of keep those at the forefront. Um, this week as or this weekend as you kind of go through life and do your own independent study, your own quiet time with God. Next week is going to be our Valentine's Day episode, so we're really excited. We're gonna spread a little bit of love, as they say, and it's gonna be a cute one. Rebecca, anything in summary, anything in closing?
The main takeaway I think from our conversation today is really just keep in conversation with God, build that relationship with Him, and the desires of your heart will come true because your desires will be His desires. And there will be this beautiful partnership in making your dreams come true. And
You have the no star required.
no star required. Yeah, exactly. And relationship looks different for everybody. It doesn't have to look exactly the same as your friend, your partner, your family. It doesn't have to look like other people's relationship because we are all unique. For me, I build relationship with God by singing, worship songs, by literally just like talking out loud, having conversations in my head that feels like I'm crazy sometimes, just like talking to myself. I journal a lot. So there's many different ways though. A lot of people are very creative with how they build that relationship and have community with God. Reading the Bible obviously is going to be really important because that's where you get to know the character of God and and that builds up how you know who he is and what he's actually like. And so yeah, if it may be going on hikes, it may be painting or dancing or singing or editing these special videos or like nature videos or whatever it is, it is for you. Writing, obviously, that's a big one. Um, so yeah, there's lots of different ways to get to know God and build up relationships. And so I just pray that for each of you listening today.
Amen and amen to that. Well, until next time, keep those halos shiny and stay holy, my friends, and we wish you a good weekend.